International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia is due to hand down its verdict against Radovan Karadzic. The former Bosnian Serb president faces 11 charges, including genocide. Let's take a look at some of the allegations against him. Now, the prosecution accused Karadzic of a military campaign against civilians in Sarajevo carried out over 2.5 years. He's also accused of ordering the killing of Muslim men and boys in Srebrenica. At least 7,000 people were killed. Now, he faces 5 counts of crimes against humanity, including persecution and extermination. Prosecutors say that for 4 years, Karadzic was responsible for forcibly removing Bosnian Muslims and Bosnian Croats from areas in Bosnia-Herzegovina. And finally, the prosecution argues that in May and June of 1995, Karadzic held United Nations personnel hostage to force NATO to stop striking Bosnian Serb targets. Well, for more on this, let's speak to Jon Brain, who joins us now from The Hague. So, Jon, just how significant is this case?
Well, it's hugely significant, and I think you get some idea of the passions it arouses by this melee going on behind me. We're not quite sure what has sparked this, but emotions are clearly high. Radovan Karadzic is the most senior official to appear charged with genocide since after the Second World War, when the Nuremberg trials were held for the Nazis. So a huge case. He's accused, as you've been saying in your introduction, of war crimes, a massacre of more than 8,000 people in one case, the longest siege of a European city in modern times in another. So many of his victims, or the relatives of his alleged victims, are here today waiting for this verdict. They've been waiting for 2 decades to see him, as in their words, brought to justice. It will be a very raw few hours for them as that court proceeds.
Absolutely. And Jon, we've obviously laid out the charges against Karadzic, but of course he's defending himself in this trial. What's he been saying? What's his defence?
Well, he protests his innocence. He says that he did not authorize any of the killings. Ever since this case has been brought to court, he's refused to accept any responsibility, though he did talk about a moral responsibility at one stage. He summoned his deputy, Mladic, who refused to actually speak, as he didn't want to incriminate himself. And bear in mind that amongst Serbians, many Serbians, Karadzic is still seen as something of a hero. So whatever the verdict today, it's unlikely that those wounds, those ethnic divisions in Bosnia will be healed.
Well, Jon, for now at The Hague, thank you. We'll be back to you later for more.